Well guys, we got some exciting shop updates for you today. It's starting to get hot. Summer is not too far away, and we made it through summer this last year and it wasn't too bad, but it definitely does get pretty toasty in the shop here. But today we are getting an AC unit installed in the shop here. Check it out. We got her hung off the ceiling. This up here is a 5-ton air handler unit. It has the coil inside of there with the fan. And our buddy Mike is over here, and he got a whole bunch of parts for us for a pretty good deal. I guess this air handler had like a little dent in the side of it, so he got that for, you know, a discount. And we also got a 5-ton condenser outside over here. Check this out, guys. So this was actually from a job that he had done. It was left over, so we got this thing for free from him. So we're just paying him for labor to come knock all of this out. He already got all of the copper lines ran into the shop, got a hole drilled through the side there, and we are going to have some nice cold air blown into the shop here very soon. Jamie just rolled up back there. But all we have to do now is get the vents ducted off of this guy right here. We still have some electrical to do and some final cleanup. But other than that, it's pretty much installed. So this should be up and running in what, like the next couple days, you think?
Yeah, we'll maybe crank it tomorrow.
Maybe tomorrow?
Yeah, we'll crank it up tomorrow.
Awesome. So here soon, we're gonna have some nice cold air. I know why it's gonna be very happy about that over there.
Yeah, this fat boy needs some freaking AC, dude. The summertime here, it don't play around. Be a little more productive, so it's really an investment in me being productive is what this is.
Yeah, I'm really just doing it for Wyatt, make sure he stays nice and cool over there. But no lie, it definitely does get pretty toasty. So we are really excited about our new AC going into the shop. Our walls are not insulated, but Mike is telling us that we should have no issues keeping this place, you know, in the lower 70 degrees. And if we insulated our walls, we could really crank it and get it down into the 60s. And he said also something else we need to look out for is make sure the outside of the building doesn't sweat too much with condensation. So there are some things we're gonna have to keep an eye on, but we got ourselves AC in the shop, boys, so it's gonna be sweet. And once we get it cranked up, hopefully tomorrow, we'll see how good this thing works. The offices over here do have working AC as well. If you guys remember when I first showed a little tour of this place, we do have AC working in here, and these rooms get very cold. And what we did is we just put a fan right here at this door, and we were kind of sucking that cold air out into the shop, and it worked pretty good. This side of the shop over here would stay pretty cool, but over here by the lift would still get pretty hot. So hopefully after tomorrow, we'll have this thing up and operational. So as you guys know, we got a new transmission together for the Rowdyssey here. We actually got the engine wheeled over as well, because we're getting pretty close to being able to put all of this stuff back into the minivan. But there are a couple things that we had to take care of before all of that went back in. This thing used to have a ABS unit right here, and we deleted that, so Wyatt is remaking some of the brake lines.
Yep. And
getting all that sorted. And then we have a new proportioning valve back there because we got rid of the factory one.
Yep, get rid of that. The factory one would have probably been built into the ABS module, so now that that's gone, need something. Plus if we want to like do burnouts or something, I don't know. Not a rear-wheel drive car, but could be. Regardless, needed one, so got that knocked out. Making the brake lines for that right now. Do the fronts real quick, and then the engine will be ready to go back in.
Yep, and after we do a little bit of welding, which will be fast. So the minivan was making so much freaking torque that when we pulled this back mount off, we noticed that there was a crack right here on this K-member, and nothing got tweaked out of position. Everything still lines up good, but it was definitely starting to, you know, strain that right there. So we're just gonna burn that back in, and that will be good. And we're actually gonna be adding a mid plate to the engine at some point, so that back mount isn't the only thing holding all of that torque from the engine. We'll have a mid plate similar to like how the MR2 has on there, and then that rear mount will really not be working at all. But we would at least like to patch that up and get it all back together how it needs to be. We'll be all good to go. But yeah, that's the brake line that Wyatt got knocked out so far.
Don't look too close.
Yeah, it looks good.
That fancy, but it should work. So
yep, brake lines will be good to go. We'll get that welded up, and then we can mate all this back together and get it all back into the minivan here.
Yep.
All right, boys, we are ready to get the engine and trans back into the Rowdyssey here. Well, I got all of these brake lines finished up, so our ABS and proportioning valve delete is done, and we just pumped up the brakes, make sure there were no leaks, got everything bled and everything is working great. Got some paint on that spot that I welded earlier, got the engine bay all power washed out. We were gonna like repaint it a little bit, but you know, it's a $500 minivan and the paint doesn't look that bad as it is. The only spot that's kind of faded is this area right there because we used to have the battery over here, but other than that, the bay looks pretty good. And we're ready to stick this sucker in. Got the sequential transmission on there, had to get the shift fork and the throwout bearing on, then there's just a little cover that I still need to get on there. And yeah, that's about it, boys. Let's go ahead and get this thing wheeled under the van, lower this thing down on top of it, and get this thing all mounted up. Oh shoot, engine and trans are back in the van.
Yes, sir, looking real good in there.
It's time to get that turbo on. Biggest turbo out of all the cars in the fleet, and it's going on our minivan. We are not mad about that at all. This thing has been sitting in the back for a while.
Line me up, bro. I've been going to the gym, but not for that long. There she is. Back in action, baby.
The big turbo's back where it belongs. Back in the Rowdyssey. Every time we get this thing put back together, it just looks so freaking mean. But we got everything back into the Rowdyssey here. There's still a lot of little things that we need to get done. The big next step on this car will be to get everything wired up for the new fuel tech unit we got. There are some other changes we're going to be making in the engine bay. We have a new radiator to put in this thing. This one is from Speed Factory Racing, and this is a very nice radiator. It has a spot for 2 fans on the back there. We had a radiator basically the same as that one on there, but it was a little bit thinner, and it also had spots for 2 fans, but we only had enough room to fit one of the fans because of our throttle body right here. We only have this much space to work with, and we had the 1 fan on that side, and it did run a lot better. We didn't have to worry about it getting too hot, but it still ran a little hotter than we would have liked. It was definitely an upgrade from our original radiator setup, which was just a half size. So with the second one we put in there, it was much better, but this one I think will do the trick. So we're gonna have to make some modifications to get that guy in there, but that won't be for another time. We also got the exhaust just kind of resting in there right now. The clamp's not on it, but we just wanted to make sure that we had plenty of room between the exhaust and our new brake lines, since these ones aren't tucked as tight as the factory ones were, and we have plenty of space down there. So we were worried we might have to like wrap them with some heat shielding, but the exhaust is way down there. But even when it's coming off of the turbo, it has plenty of room. So that guy will sit about like that. So there is plenty of space there, and if we really need to, we can definitely add a little heat shield, but that's something else that we needed to take a look at. But man, boys, I'm excited. Rowdyssey is getting really close to being back together, and then we have to pull off the hubs at some point. These guys down here are going to need to be upgraded for our new axles because this hole is too small. We got a big thick shaft going into a little hole, so that is not going to work. We got to upgrade those hubs for our new axles. And then if you guys remember, a while back I but I found a guy with another wagon diff, just like how the hatch has, and that guy is in this box right here. So we have ourselves a Civic wagon differential, which is going to be much stronger than the CRV diff that is in there. I already kind of showed all of that stuff. That guy was not cheap. Those wagon diffs are getting so hard to find, but we got a wagon diff to throw in it as well, and that will be happening later on. But there she is, boys. Got some work to do, but I'm really excited to see the engine and everything back into the minivan with our refreshed transmission, with our billet bell housing, and and we're getting an upgraded transfer case. The all-wheel drive drivetrain is going to be stout, so I'm excited to launch this thing for the very first time. And if it's anything like the hatch was, the minivan is going to be a beast, boys. So that is our update for right now on the van. Also want to give you guys an update on where we're at on the MR2. So check it out, boys. We have ourselves another billet bell housing from Drag Cartel. This is just the 2-wheel drive version. So now both the Rowdyssey and the MR2 are getting these nice billet bell housings. And the MR2 was supposed to be back together mostly a couple days ago, but I didn't have the right shims for the diff right here. I even ordered a whole bunch of them from Honda directly, and I ordered probably 6 different thicknesses of shims. So let me show you guys. So all these are straight from Honda. Got a whole bunch of shims, and I thought all of these would be, I thought one of these would be the right thickness, but it turns out even the thickest one I have, which is in the case right now, was still a little too thin, and the tolerance was a little loose. So I had to order some more shims that are a little bit thicker, and those are like a specialty part, so it does take a few extra days for those to come in. But I'm wanting to do this right, make sure everything's good to go with the new transmission going into the MR2. So we have the new shims on the way. Once those will get here, I can properly shim the diff and get this together just like how we did on the Rowdyssey. And then the only thing that happened on the MR2's transmission, if you guys need a quick reminder, is I forgot to turn the slipper on the last time we had it at the track, and we broke this tooth off the counter shaft right there. That is the only damage that happened, just that tooth. Everything else looked brand new and perfect. And just to be sure, I also went ahead and replaced the whole crown gear right here as well, just in case there was like any micro cracks or anything like that from that breaking. I didn't want to take any chances, and everything else should be good to go other than that. But yeah, I'm excited that the MR2 is getting a nice billet case as well. So we are spending a lot of money on these transmissions. I just want them to be good and ready to go, and hopefully we get some good use out of them. But the MR2 will be up and running here soon. And then let me also show you guys something else we got going for it. Nothing too crazy, but if you look over here, we have a brand new clutch from Clutch Masters in this box. So our triple disc that was in the MR2 was a little wore out, and we sent it in and got it refreshed. And I think the only piece they reused was our flywheel. They said pretty much everything else was completely worn down, including the pressure plate and the discs. So basically we just got our flywheel back refreshed, and the clutch pack itself is all brand new. So we got a brand new triple disc to go into the MR2 once the transmission is put back together. And then once that all goes in, the car isn't too far off from being able to make a pass again. We are going to be remounting a seat to the roll cage, because right now the seat tabs are to the body, and we're going to cut those off, put some holes in it, and actually go straight to the cage like it should be. And then there's still some sheet metal that we want to clear out of this thing, and some final little things that we need to get done. But other than that, the MR2 is getting close, because we want to take this thing back out and turn it all the way up. We got the cage to do it, and the safety features to really push this car and not get in trouble for going back into the 7s. So we want to back that 7-second pass up, and that is our update for now on the MR2 as well. She is about to be back up and running. Well guys, that's going to about do it for today's video. Really just kind of an update, let you guys know what we've been up to, but hope you guys are excited to see an up and coming 8-second minivan, because the Rowdyssey is getting close. We've been staying busy for sure. Like I just showed you guys, MR2 will be back up in action here soon, and we are doing some of the final wiring to the AC unit right now. They're drilling over there through the wall, and if you listen here, we got air coming through. We got holes cut out in our box up here. So once we get everything fully wired up, get a thermostat on there, get all of our plumbing ran off of our AC unit, we'll have some AC in the shop. We're gonna have a nice cool summer working here in Florida. So that is gonna do it for today's video, guys. We have a lot of things coming up, a couple announcements actually that will probably happen this week, some exciting stuff. So stay tuned, and we will see you guys later.